Hello everyone, welcome to another video of Tutorialspoint. Today we are going to learn about role as a leader, overview on that. So what exactly is a role of a leader? What all responsibilities does he have? Let's get into the detail. So let's start looking at the agenda for today first. The agenda for today is how to be an effective people's leader. We will see today what does it take to be an effective people's leader, how to be a very impactful leader, leading versus managing. What is the difference between a leader and a manager? Extremely important to know, because a lot of people feel that being a leader and a manager is almost the same thing, but today we will discuss the differences between the two. Leadership principles. What are the principles that every leader has to follow? And at the end, we will conclude the entire module. So let's begin. How to be an effective people's leader? Let's look at the points. Learn to lead by example. First point says you need to lead by an example. That means you need to practice what you preach, isn't it? You're telling your people to do something right, but if you do not follow the right thing, how would your people follow you, isn't it? So you need to lead by example, you need to become an inspiration for your team. Second point, be goal oriented. You need to be goal oriented. You need to know what your goal is and your team's goal is. You need to understand how you have to reach to that goal. So if you are aware about your own goals, that is how you will also motivate your team members to reach the goal. And everybody has to have a common goal altogether, right? So having a goal and being oriented towards your goal is another very important thing for a leader. Take responsibility. Take responsibility means being accountable for every action of you and of your team, right? Taking responsibility of every good or bad thing happening in your team. Share the glory. That simply means that if you have achieved something great, as a team leader, you need to share the glory, share the recognition with the entire team members, isn't it? After all, it's the effort of the entire team that has made you, being awarded or get that particular appreciation or get the reward, isn't it? So a good team leader or a good leader always shares the glory with the entire team. Now look at some more points. Know how to develop a team. A good leader always knows how to develop his or her team, right? So yeah, develop means training the team, motivating them, assessing the needs of the team, mentoring them. Probably many times it might also happen that many of your team members are not happy with something going on in your team. It could be either related to any project or any of the colleague. It is your responsibility as a team leader to probably, solve the problem, resolve the issue and develop them. Become a master of communication. As a leader, you need to be nothing but perfect in your communication. Now here communication means being a good speaker as well as being a good listener. You need to make sure that you have to be very assertive in your communication. Whatever you talk, you need to be very clear in it. Also, when somebody wants to come and speak to you about something, you need to be actively listening to that person. Be courageous and assertive. You need to be brave. You need to be courageous. You need to be able to take risks. Also, you should be very assertive. Assertive here means you should be very firm in whatever decisions you take. Be confident. A leader has to have confidence in himself and also in his or her team members. As a leader, people look up to you. You have to have an ability of taking decisions on your own, right? You have to manage your entire team of 5, 10, 15, 20 or even more people. As a leader, if you are not confident, how would you expect your team members to be confident, right? So you need to have that confidence in you. All right, now let's look at the difference between leader and a manager. Well, many people might think that leader and a manager could be the same, but absolutely not. As we all know that leader is, usually completely different from a manager. Manager is a role, but leader is somebody who is born, right? But manager is made. Let's look at other differences between a leader and a manager. Manager administers, leader innovates. That means a manager administers the task that is given to him or her, whereas a leader innovates. That means create new tasks, right? That develops new tasks. That means he is more creative. Manager maintains, leader develops. Manager maintains the day-to-day tasks that is given to him. However, a leader is able to develop a task, again on the more innovative side. Manager controls. Manager controls his team. He is more on the dominating side. He likes people to listen to him or her. However, a leader inspires the team. A leader is able to convince the team in a more positive way instead of controlling it. Manager asks how and when. That means any task that is given to a manager, he's always coming up with the questions that how to do it and when to do it. However, a leader always asks what and why. That means what is the task all about. So that means even if the task is not given to a leader, the leader will proactively go and ask for some tasks to be given to him and why is he supposed to do that task. A manager has a short-term view, but a leader has a long-term view. That means a manager is always looking after his short-term goals. He doesn't have a bigger picture in mind. However, a leader always has a long-term view and a long-term goal, which is more effective because having a long-term goal means that he is able to make small goals, and that's how he'll able to reach the long-term goal. Manager accepts the status quo. A status quo means the rules and regulations, the norms of the company. So a manager readily accepts it. However, a leader challenges it. That means a leader asks the management, why are we supposed to follow the norms? Why the norms cannot be any different, right? Manager do things right, but a leader do the right things. Now there is a difference between the two. It might sound very similar, but it has huge difference. A manager do things right. So whatever task is given to a manager, he or she makes sure that I do it in a right way, whatever is being told to me. However, a leader tries to do the right things. That means he feels that let me innovate and create the right things and let me do it correctly, and let me tell my team to tell it to perform in the right way. So that is the main difference. I'm sure now you've understood the important differences between a leader and a manager. There are many differences, but these are the basic differences. Now you can make out which role is better and which role would you like to fall into, right? Now let's look after leadership principles. So what are the principles that every leader has to follow? First one, be tactically and technically proficient. See, obviously you need to have good people skills, interact with people, have good social skills, good leadership quality, but you need to also be very good with your technical skills, your technical knowledge, isn't it? So this is the first thing you need to think of. Suppose if you are a leader of, let's say, a customer service department, your knowledge about the customer service department has to be really strong, right? Know yourself and seek self-improvement. A good leader always keeps knowing him or herself. That means about his strengths, weaknesses, what he can do, what he cannot do, and he or she always seeking self-improvement in form of trainings, new learnings, right? It can be from books, from internet, probably taking any kind of workshop. A leader always keeps learning new things, never hesitates to learn. Know your team and look out for their welfare. A leader knows their team very well and always keeps looking out for the welfare of the team. For example, how can my team do, probably better than the last time? Probably I can mentor them in a different way. I can provide them training in this particular topic. So a leader always thinks about the team's welfare. Keep your team informed. One more principle of a leader is that A good leader always keeps his or her team informed about everything that's happening in the team. Every decision that he takes, he first like to consult his team and then usually they take the decision. A leader is a part of the team, is one of them. He doesn't like to portray himself as somebody superior, right? He's a very transparent person and that's how he likes to keep everything very transparent and informed all the time. Leader always sets the example first. That means he always wants to do things first and then tell his team to do it that way. He always wants to demonstrate it by setting an example. So for example, if he wants his people to come on time, he would make sure that he first comes on time every single day. He would make sure that he values time and not procrastinate things, right? Ensure the task is understood, supervised and accomplished. A leader makes sure that a task is just not given to the team like that. He makes sure that the task is supervised. A task is controlled, the task is properly guided. He makes sure that every employee in his team, every team member is guided properly how to do the task and not just keep blaming them for not doing it properly, right? Train your employees as a team, right? So as I have already told you that a good leader always makes sure that the entire team, all the employees in the team is trained properly. For that, the leader has to know the team members first and then he also needs to understand the needs of the employee, need of the moment. For example, the employee needs training in Excel. Somebody is not good with Excel, so he will make sure that instead of blaming the team member that he doesn't know Excel, he provides training to them, right? Make sound and timely decisions. A leader is a very good decision maker and that's how he always makes timely decisions. Develop a sense of responsibility in your subordinates. A leader makes sure that the subordinates are not completely dependent on them for every decision, right? So he makes sure that he makes his subordinates very, very independent in terms of taking decisions. So for example, let's take the same example of Excel. If somebody doesn't know Excel, he comes and asks the team leader. Now, for the first time, the team leader might help him, of course. But for the second and third time, if the same person comes and asks this leader about the similar problems in Microsoft Excel, then the team leader, instead of telling him or giving him the answers again and again on his own, he has to make sure that the subordinate learns how to use Excel so that he can be more independent. Employ your unit in accordance with this capability. That means whenever he hires any employee in his team, any team member in its team, the team member has to be capable enough to perform that role. Seek responsibility and take responsibility for your actions. A good leader always seeks responsibility. A good leader is always responsible for whatever actions he is doing. Also, a good leader takes responsibility. So not only seek responsibility but also take responsibility for everything that he is doing inside the team, for every decision that he is taking, for every action that he is performing, for everything. So taking responsibility and seeking it are also one of the very important principles of a leader. Now let's conclude. A leader leads by example, not by force. A good leader always leads by example. A good leader always wants to show that, I can do it, so why can't you? A good leader never forces anything on his or her team. So I hope you liked the video today and stay tuned for watching more such videos. Thank you very much.